Now it's turning into a kind of a snow limbo, man. What's on your mind? I don't want to talk about that. Man, I was hoping it isn't going to be her. All I can say is, she isn't around here anymore. She isn't some evil drug trafficker. And I don't know where she is. I didn't, man. I told you I was hoping it's not her. That she wouldn't be mixed up in it.
He still is. Hoping. It's just wishful thinking on his part, not trickery. It's true. We would have caught a lie. But a kind heart is tricky. Bah. Emotional rhetoric. He knew something and he didn't share it with you. That's a fact.
Thank God I don't know. People here call her the lady driver. She kept her name a secret. From me too. Now I see why. A friend? An acquaintance. I don't know. She was the only person in this damn jam I could talk to. She's someone I don't want to rat out to the law, okay? A youngish woman. Gruff, but in a cool way.
What color hair?
Blue and violet. Dyed. It was violet when she got here. Blue before she went.
Then she may have dyed it again.
Damn, I don't want to... Please just let it go. Whatever she did, it can't be that bad. She's not a bad person, I know that much.
We can't just let it go. It's part of a police investigation.
That's how it always is with you, isn't it? All part of the investigation. The girl's troubled. If you hunt her down, she may not survive it.
It won't come to that. We won't pursue her on this. This is information only.
I don't believe you. I just can't, man. I'm not naive. She's got the darkness in her. That young person's darkness when you think it's all over. And you're looking for a way out.
She shared this with you?
Yes. Which is why I don't want to snitch on her. I heard the rumors. I saw the other drivers looking at me strange when we talked. And she told me, too, that she's had a violent life. But I wasn't afraid of her. More like for her.
Did this violent life include drug trafficking?
Well, it looks like it did now. But we didn't talk about that. We talked about life, you know? She talked about her mind. The way it worked. The trouble it was giving her.
The pain it was causing her.
Fuck, man. Go grill someone else with these questions, okay? There are plenty of drivers here who couldn't stand her, or were afraid of her. They'd be more than happy to rat her out.
He's right. There are other options. The raceman, for one. Wait, this guy says they're friends, then acquaintances, and he's okay with others ratting her out? Push Tommy and it will break his heart and his spirit. Don't expect you to be pals. Now is not the time to focus on feelings. You need that info, son.
You're not gonna put a bullet in your head if you blow it, are you? 'Cause she's on the edge, man.
I wouldn't be so sure, Tommy. Imagine it, an explosion of stars. Goodbye world of men, money, and machines.
Fine. I don't want to be a butcher. And I don't want to be a knight either. I just want to be a person who can sleep at night. A little fame wouldn't hurt too. I thought you were a different kind of cop.
The realization that you've used his friendliness and goodwill for your own ends. Remember, you're doing it for the bigger investigation. This is important. Relax.
Here.
The keys to a motor lorry. Pretty complex. Looks like a chain lock.
Her lorry's still here, down past the Statue of Philippe. The cabin is green. You can get in there with these. That's all I know.
When did she leave?
Last Friday. She left them to me because she trusted me. So I can get it out of the way when the jam breaks loose. Otherwise,
The other drivers would have to tow it or break in to get the machines moving.
If they break in, they would find what's hidden inside. Something incriminating.
I bet you are.
And he's sorry he couldn't be what he wants to be. A good person. His last line, his revenge on the world.
No, I don't know. Nah, I need to think my own thoughts now. Pray forgiveness for my sins. Go check your cabin. I hope it gets you something. Help someone.
This screen found, A to Z, Contemporain, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days.
This is the one our men pointed to.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of a seat and two steering levers. You push the key into the lock and turn. It makes a cracking sound. Then the door pops back a few centimeters. You can just... The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye, a centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. There's definitely perfume in the air. It's spicy, with a hint of amberette, wafting through the bitter air of the cabin. The actress is draped in a sheath dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster. She's looking past the camera. This is Pt.10, a starlet from the dawn of cinematography, less known for her talent than her tragic, untimely death. She wasted away in a drug den called the Door to the River, not far from here on Boogie Street, a mixture of cocaine and morphine. She was afraid of the world, and the camera, too. The remnants of a sweet juniper-scented perfume, probably Grenade No. 5. The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard and a toolbox sits under the driver's seat. You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Sandpaper? A novel technique?
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. There's a radio transmitter. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed, likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least. No, that's on 78.9. What? I happen to have committed the frequency to memory. I have no problem admitting that. For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation, with quite a range too.
A 20-kilometer radius at least, perhaps extended by an attachable antenna that's not here right now.
Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without a dial key.
The smell of 1,000 cigarettes, some dead actresses, and a rusty old metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except for a folded newspaper. It's an issue of Pt.10 from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the Ulan frequency system. These formulas look oddly painful. Maybe it's the hangover, but they give you a headache.
The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
The pull-out tool slides back into its nest. The rest is as it was. Radio, posters, a trace of motor oil smell under all the cigarettes. It closed the rusty old lorry door.
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? Before we return to Joyce? All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net.
This means it's well-funded. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it.
I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade. Yes, well... We didn't find anything conclusive linking them to the smuggling operation. But somehow, I doubt that Evrard Claire would be oblivious to something like this happening right under his nose. My suggestion is, we use it against the Union in any way we can, to our own ends. It's a slippery hill, but we just might be able to pin them down, indirectly, down the road.
In short, this is a future angle, possibly a good one.
We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation, sometime later when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause, an investigation I mean. Especially if the Madrid grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Debrief over, after you.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Yes, my eyes on the harbor have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologize for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this.
One of the tall buildings overlooking the roundabout, most likely. That would give them a read on the entire quarter.
In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
She's trying to conceal her excitement, but the slight glimmer in her green eyes tells you otherwise.
If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I am sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands. Yes, I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivershoal West.
Since you are sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Nice.
Crenell, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the Colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbor. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenell contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants. It is very far from disco. My only hope is that you provide a single, concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
The debardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
The Serai's giant hornet, the world's 2nd largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours.
These men work in tandem using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all.
The muzzle loaders need to be reloaded after every 1 or 2 shots. The automatics every 1 or 2 minutes.
As I said, a bloodbath.
It appears you found it, yes. And I'm not happy for you.
Too many things have already gone wrong. Lieutenant W. Freighter Dubois. All we can do is keep that which is not from following suit. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients: Saint-Baptiste, Welchman-Lorenz, Eendracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ACP, man?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I would be dealing with a group like Crenel. I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. The remaining contractors, their tribunal, it's what they believe. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe.
You meet her soon enough, you feel.
If you mean did I see him alive, yes. But I did not know him.
You don't know how you know. It's not written on her face, nor in her voice. But she had sympathy for this man.
Liked is a bit strong. He was the most charismatic among them. He handled all the talking. His departure left a major gap in the group's communication skills. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head.
I can't remember.
The lieutenant was testing her, asking a small detail first to see if she knew him better than she let on. She passed.
That's all right, man. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40 or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age or gauge his facial expressions.
Indeed, this matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body. What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
One must be at the harbor gates, causing trouble, directing strike breakers, perhaps. You can hear the sounds of the ruckus coming from there all the time. The other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is a powder keg. Does this not bother you?
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant. But my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
That would afford a good vantage point. In any case, it's practically inaccessible.
Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece?
Heavens no. I'm not an undercover agent. There's a short wave at the ship's wheel. I hope I can answer it better. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob, and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask. Of course. Excuse my hesitation before.
For about half a minute, in silence.
It was taken with a trigette not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface. She has no excess of emotions for this cadaver. Has she seen dead bodies before? It's likely.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Close. Port cities. This is an Oranese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the Dolorian century. Over 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it.
Where is he now? An empire without an emperor.
Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oranese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pt.10, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Preto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Semines Islands, then this. Revachol. Those are the two constants. Vredefort on the shoulder, and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Inter-Islary Age.
The old, old world passing by, and the new, new world already here.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning.
In Martinez looking into Krenel, he writes in one. Then the man puts down his pen and rubs his temples with both hands. Outside, there is a siren. Distant gunshots on the streets of the Jamrock Quarter. Vredefort? Vredefort has a military academy. The Semines Islands saw a recent conflict. In Revachol, he was executed.
That makes sense to me. We have no more use for a map of the waterways, just like we don't need sailors the way we used to. This is what the custom would morph into on the Occident. Mercenary tattoos.
For all the boys looking for adventure, a blood spatter on the seas.
His platoon members? The other contractors. Though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade.
It could go this or the other way. Maybe if you're tactful, it could be beneficial. Surely there are other people to ask about the tattoo. This is not necessary to complete the task, officer. It's a dangerous side task. Search elsewhere. Challenge accepted. I say we do it.
Do what you have to do, Detective Dubois. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security. But if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you.
We will be careful, ma'am.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
Jamais vu. Derealization. Jamais vu. The opposite of déjà vu. Not already seen, but never seen. Everything that should be familiar appears strange and new, like some half-forgotten day in your childhood. Only now. That's the feeling you've been having. And for who knows how long. You should go and ask Joyce Messier about this. What world are we in? This is a fundamental question.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Not an umbrella, I hope. I don't need one myself, you see.
All around you, rain keeps falling down. On the wooden boards she's standing on, and on the water around you.
Sadly, I need this one myself. It's hydrophobic, repels water. Almost magically. The company makes them for offshore platform personnel. Very sturdy. What I can do for you is answer some questions. Nothing like talking to pass a rainy day.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
Paintbrush? Check. Heavy fuel oil? Check. Now the only thing left to do is paint the wall. The paintbrush in your hand is like a loaded revolver. What will it be, Desperado? Quite a few things come to mind. You've spoken. The wall will now silently repeat the message for a decade or so, until the sea air degrades the paint, adding another layer of detritus to the city.
Very poetic. Real poetry. Should we return to our murder investigation? I hear there's a really bad one we are supposed to solve.
Bastards! We have a right to work! Hold up and stay frosty, everyone. Cops are here.
You here to fuck with us? Beat the honest worker down.
We're here to fight for a cause. Stripes usually have problems with people who have causes. Ha! Couldn't handle us. Cause gives the workers strength, gives them power. We have a right to work!
Besides, we're not that different. It helps if people see us talking, cops and strikebreakers together. Shows authorities are on our side. Builds confidence. Might be time. Don't let the fat bastards tread on you. Cops tend to side with the higher-ups, but you're essentially still workers. I don't trust cops, but I can see you understand the right to work! Right to work! Rights of people. Rights of workers.
His manner of speaking is wooden, the tone of voice bland and uninspired, almost as if compiling replies from a set of learned phrases.
Maybe you should ask them the questions, like why we're not allowed to make a living here.
Shame on you!
We have families to feed, you piece of shit.
So do we, Scott.
We were promised work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't shut the gates. Main gate's locked. Would take heavy ordnance to bust it open. Could try to get in through the secretary's office. Door's locked. The guards blocking the way to the access panel.
And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head measurer. Or whatever he is. Yeah? That giant up there, on the bridge you talked to. Head measurer. Won't let the workers by. The access panel is right behind him. Bad. Standing on a narrow bridge, he's got a strategically advantageous position. And he's trained. I don't know how the Union has a trained killer up there. But that one's no joke, and my men are tired and hungry. They're workers, not fighters. Why don't you go arrest them instead? I'm sure they've done plenty of criminal shit. They have that look.
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home. At least for now. If you can't get in anyway.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then, we charge.
Do not be fooled by the programming. There is a precarious balance inside him, keeping him in check. But it's shaky as hell, and he's tired of it all.
When a bunch of ungrateful, lazy cockroaches can't get their act together, decide to block honest work for other people. Beats me. They mumble nonsense about boardrooms and workers' rights, while we have the right to work!
When the man moves around, you perceive some serious abs underneath his tight-fitting shirt. This man is in shape. There's something odd in the way he carries himself. His set of clothing looks vaguely mismatched. The different pieces of the attire seem ill-fitting. His shirt is far too small and an unpleasantly tight fit, while the overalls, held up by a belt, seem to fit a man with much more corpulence. He ignores your question, choosing instead to turn to the emaciated workers, raising both fists in the air. The clothes are obviously not his. Silence is the answer. There's something off here, but he won't say what.
Honest men and women, with rights, to work, to be useful, not toys for corporate interests. We came here to help the harbor run smoothly in time of crisis. If Union fucks don't want work, they ought to let in those who do want work.
I have a question. Why do all these men follow your leadership?
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No. They follow the rules of the market, the rules of the economy, because they were given a job to do!
You've been talking to him for quite a while now. Something is off with this guy. Ask him where he's from.
Hell no. I'm just an honest scab. I won't have talk like that around here. You understand?
His neck muscles tense up. The veins on his neck bulge. It just has to be said, that was not a convincing line.
Fucking wow.
I'm going to interpret that as a yes. There's a tribunal, and it won't be long until it's ready.
How about you fuck off now, huh?
Okay, of course.
Fucking loincloth.
Loincloth? Now you see, that's not really what a scab would say, is it? Better not to press the issue further, sire. He seems tense. The man's breathing steadies, but his eyes are still narrow. Slowly, he's trying to get his right-to-work dance back on. It's hard to do that when you want to beat a man into a pulp instead.
Don't think so.
Suddenly, this feels like a really, really bad idea. Silence. He takes the photo. Grey eyes dart back and forth on the glossy surface. His face is unmoving. Hard as a stone, but beneath it, you see dead flesh in colorful rivers of polychrome, melted skin and hair.
Fucking loincloths. Really did him in. Yeah.
He's clenching his teeth. There is silent pressure behind them.
What it means. I can tell you what this one means. Only one. You want to hear what happened here? Our colonel is deep in the bush here. Deep in the fucking bush. In Benital, 41. Monsoon season. He's on a reconnaissance mission.
Benital is one of the inhabited islands of the Seminese archipelago near the Pale. Covered in jungle, it was anchor point for the Seminese nationalists in the proxy war held on the islanders' territory.
He spent a month behind enemy lines, scouting kept villages. Nothing but fucking bugs and snakes for fun. Men are getting restless. There's talk of switching employers.
With some strange emotion, this is about to get really graphic. Last moment to back off.
Our boy, he's only a captain then, but he knows how these men think. If they don't see action soon. At dawn, he comes upon two kids, breeding in the bushes by the river. Or maybe they weren't breeding. Maybe they were just making eyes at each other. I like to think they were breeding. We shot the boy. He was useless, but the girl, she was nice. A little fat, you know, but not too old. She was quite the entertainment for the week she lasted. Expired in the hands of Sarge Mason, the kind of guy who'd make Chief there shit his pants and cry like a bitch. God, Mason couldn't let go. Cut the tits off her cold body and fucking ate them. Said primitive spirits were watching over him now. Drowned in a creek a week later. Spirits my ass.
Something stirs in your stomach. There's a word on the tip of your tongue. Colorless, odorless. It's...
No, I was somewhere else. That's just a guess as to what this one little star on his belly might mean. I'm just a bouncer. Fucking mask is getting sweaty. I want to take my mask off. But you bet it was. It's just nature. This guy, he used to say evil is when nature and spirit meet in the wrong place. Nah, you've earned it. All right now. Free commerce! Keep the goods flowing!
On the photo in your hands, the dead man's skin is studded with stars. Tens, hundreds of them, littering his dead skin.
Your race descent has only worsened since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
I think this racist is better than the last. But the next racist will be the really good one.
That will be the...
He will grant us 3 wishes.
Your pedomorphic friend has quick wits, a protruding occiput, and an indented zygomatic bone.
The lieutenant does not flinch.
You should keep him close. The congenital defect of farsightedness does not render him a complete invalid. He still has the use of his mind. I am not.
You pick up on something artificial.
The hardy manlets are on the pay of the company. I answer to the Union alone. And I do this out of race heroism. Finance is an alien concept to the Seminoles. Now leave me be. I must luxuriate in the company of my woman. Find a...
Interesting.
Don't be vulgar. White or not has got little to do with this. Mr. Clare is a man of vision and means. He has the will to confront International Capital, which is something your race naivistic communists never did. Also, to serve is noble. It takes discipline. Your petulant individualism has only contributed to your race failure. Jam. Individualism. You have gotten these ideas from degenerate youth culture, have you not? You have picked them up from rock and roll songs? Offshoots of the Seminoles people invented disco while having sex under the influence of cocaine. It is a shame upon my race. But what is done is done. I am not surprised you enjoy it so much. This has happened to many of the side products of the inevitable cultural victory of the Seminoles race. I can see that. The Seminoles, we are the future. I am a descendant. The narrow streets of... No. I have heard about it on the radio. I'm from Couronne, and you have heard enough about our phylogenetic secrets for today.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you? Yeah, the janitor who gave me the key to his apartment said the guy's a bit of an asshole. Like I said before, I don't know much about this weasel, but the bossman said he's a real piece of work. Thanks for helping out, friend.
Looking for something odd?
waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards. Simmer down. Simmer down, bastards.
Oh yes, she does. You need to get your drink on. There is no other way for human beings to procreate. Not after 6,000 years of yeast cultivation-based mating rituals.
What? Funny. Funny sailor jokes. Sorry if I'm not laughing out loud, but the comedy has worn thin over the years.
Great. Now you reminded her of the husband. It's okay. She just hasn't figured out how these things work between the sexes. Keep at it. She'll come around. Whoa. In your hand, Pyrrolidon, the double rainbow of synthetic hallucinogens, rare and gritty, a product of the age of atomic power. What a funny little cat. Don't let the scary medical warnings throw you off. It's an inadequate antidote to radiation poisoning, but a potent antidote to boredom. The container is warm to the touch, or is that just the anticipation? You screw the lid open and look. A little slit on the side lets you just slurp it up, like an oyster. Come on, slurp it. You suck a minuscule drop of extremely chemical-smelling liquid into your mouth. There, it seeps into your tongue. When you swallow, it's already almost all gone. It tastes like many things, all melted into one conflagration in the back of your throat. As you look around, the world slowly exists as it did before. Only now, gentle flames lick at its edges, as though it were a photo burning. Not really. It's just a metaphor. The effect of that otherworldly drop of liquid is slower, more subtle than that of real flames, yet just as warm. This warmth, it makes you want to share your discovery with Kim.
I'm happy for you.
His glasses turn golden as the fire reflects off the lenses. You feel this man is your brother. Just don't mix it with anything, he thinks, looking you over. Thankfully, his sense of balance seems okay. Whatever, I'm not getting involved. Wow, Kim's badass. Or he's had a druggy partner. Whoa, that's probably it. He's seen it before. Look at all these guys go off like fireworks as information pours into you about the lieutenant's simple remark. I'm happy for you. This stuff is great. Why not? This government-developed substance seems very non-intrusive. You could even operate heavy machinery. Fire machinery. Please don't actually operate any fire machines. Already you can tell you're going to be sloping a lot more pyrrolidon. This stuff is going to give you insight into that little flickering light hidden in all human beings. If you can keep the vomit in, because it sort of also makes you want to throw up.
In the bottom right corner of the screen, there's a Pyrrolidon button. It gives +1 to psyche skills. Empathy, suggestion, authority, inland empire, esprit de corps, and volition. This is good before rolling a white check, but damages your health.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope...
Hey, Moneymouth. Indrak, the impeccable hustler provider of the 7th generation. It's showtime. Hey, Moneymouth. The bed is comforting.
Yes, what is it?
A few locusts, poor things.
shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime.
Stylish shades, huh? They'd be even more stylish if you paid for them with net worth. Go over and ask him.
Oh, very interesting choice, officer. Very high culture.
This is how a sea monster sees the world. You've become a sea monster, Harry. Giant, hidden, and strangely tender at heart. All is blue. All right. But these actually make your vision worse. It's like literally being underwater. Yes. But they also make your soul quiver like jello. So deep.
Wow, officer. You look so cool. And they can be yours for a mere 3 real. My regular customers have passed them all up because they've got no taste. But you found them.
The lieutenant tilts his head and steps back, eyes narrowed in a thorough examination. It's a case to him.
You look like a musician. Like a blind musician. But you could do worse. Take them if you want.
A man who knows his style. Much respect.
Hello, hello. Let me know if I...
The worn and beaten.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when Lieutenant Kitsuragi is gone.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the...
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? No, and I doubt they'll get back to me before tomorrow morning. Anything 57?
In the cabin, you see a...
I've got nothing to say to you.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here. Yeah, by friends, you mean his squad mates from Cronell.
Wouldn't want to beat up his grandma.
Nervous, snickering. There's a rush of adrenaline present.
This is what happens if you take the law into your own hands. Other people start doing it too.
Let them come. The Hardy Boys are right fucking here.
You heard the man. Right here. We're armed. We got the whole district behind us. And Glenn. Glenn is fucking crazy.
Yeah. A well-oiled murder machine.
The mood is on the rise. They're feeling confident, ready to punch out the whole Merc platoon.
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
We're not bees. We're men. We're socialists.
Easy, E. He's trying to phase you. What are you trying to do? Scare my men? So are the local gangs. The fucking Barmy Army and the Madre scum. You've been out there. Seen any around?
Yeah. Where are they now, huh? Sent back to Madre in an airtight cargo crate.
These people are trained military professionals with decades of combat experience. They are not a gang or a barmy army.
No, they're not. They're uncoordinated and drunk. We know more about them than you think. We got weapons of our own. We got Ister 50s, Zeelagers. Glenn's got a knock cannon at home. I guess we're gonna see, aren't we?
That was an unsure phrasing.
Yeah, like you've been up against ceramic armor. You haven't even seen the whole suit, right? I've seen the whole fucking thing, and it didn't make him immortal. Big fucking surprise. They hire psycho scum, arm them to the teeth, and let them loose in the city. What do you think is gonna happen? What do you mean, okay? No, they won't. Get out of here with your negative energy.
All he means is that the situation is serious.
No wonder you cops get shot to shit every day. Can't go to war with an attitude like that.
This time it's going to work. You already ruled out the first bad option that didn't.
Why?
This is not what he thinks it is. This is a great idea. I'm afraid it's not what you think it is either.
What in the name of fuck are you doing?
But I don't want to give you my gun.
The fuck is happening, Titus? What are they whispering about?
Easy, Shanks. I want to see where this is going.
Merely what?
The pressure in the room grows to a boiling point.
Be careful, it's loaded.
Good. Now put it in your mouth. I want to point it at them. Quit your whining. Everyone knows how to do that. You're a special man. You're going to point it at yourself. Go ahead. Show them.
What are you doing?
Genuine panic flies across the lieutenant's face.
Fellas, you getting any of this? What in the name of motherfuck?
Acidic taste on your lips. Corrosive. Once as a child, you put your tongue against the rail. It was winter. That was a long time ago.
The fuck is he saying?
Some insane shit.
Nothing. Give me the gun. We'll solve the case. Look at me. Don't worry. This demonstration is not helping at all.
Inside the small mechanism, you can hear a spring tensing up.
Yeah. Cause I sorta wanna see that shit.
You won't, man. His fucking balls ain't big enough.
He's not gonna off himself. Come on.
No. He'll do it. Go ahead, son. 3, 2.
Kisses, kisses, kisses. No. Give it to Lieutenant Kitsuragi. It's not too late. You can still spin this as some kind of tactic. There will be no spinning. Do the honest thing. Pull the trigger.
Thank you. Nothing to worry about here, people. My partner likes to play these jokes. He's what you call dark.
He is infinitely grateful to have that gun back on his belt right now.
Dark? What the fuck was that, you carnies? We haven't seen RCM in 4 years, and this shows up?
I knew he wasn't gonna do it, though. I knew he'd pussy out.
No. I still have my money on him. Sooner or later, he has that look.
Do not think your failed suicide attempt will win you any pity from these men. Do not expect them to forget it soon either.
Again, it was a dark joke. Maybe we should go for a little walk, Joker, before we continue. Jogging around seems to have a positive effect on you.
Sounds like you're the suicide cop, with his finger on the eject button, ready to let go of this life. But guess what? You idiot! You've got the bullet, but no gun. You've made such a big show out of it too. You feel like everyone basically expects you to do it now. What is this? You're not ready to die. This is garbage. Oh yes, it would be so sweet to taste the barrel once more. That sour metal. Maybe there is a way. Not yet, but stick with it. Keep going dark, and it'll finally click.
Again? I can't believe this shit.
There's something that binds you to him. Some kind of an outfit, maybe. A uniform. Exactamundo.
Well, that depends. Define fire.
Stop it, Jean. No, he's never been a firefighter. No one here is a firefighter. Yes? What is it?
Hey, was there something you needed?
Well, well. Bringing him that new bird sure made a difference in his attitude. The man ponders his cooking utensils and...
What in the name of hell was that supposed to be? The theatrical suicide attempt. We need to talk about it. We do. I was able to recontextualize it as a dark joke. I will not be able to recontextualize it the next time. I understand you sometimes employ extreme interrogation tactics, but I want you to understand that was too extreme. We can't have RCM officers going around putting guns in their mouths. We can't afford to have that image. Few institutions can. Phew.
He has an idea who she is. Many cops have a she or he who left. But he just doesn't know what to say.
I don't know why she left you. Let's go.
You see a heavy... You immediately feel... The door... Hey, Money Mouth. Hey, Money Mouth. Indrak, the impeccable hustler provider of the 7th generation. It's showtime. The bed is still...
Kuno saw you wield that can. Sweet graffito action, pig. Kuno likes that delinquent shit. Fuck no, art shit. It's not art, it's fucking brutal. Nothing pussy about it. The fuck out of here.
Even the pigs think it's garbage.
Look, bitches, Kuno's gonna wrap it up for you. Talk business or fuck off. Enough about this art shit. Kuno doesn't...
Yes? Excuse me? You have a distinctive way of walking. If I were to walk in front of you, we would surely collide.
A moment passes. The lieutenant glances at the sports watch on his wrist. All those empty wine bottles and cigarette butts on the ground. Someone partied really, really hard here.
Well, yes, I think we can say with relative confidence that it was you. It really, really doesn't. Let's turn our attention elsewhere and move on.
There, in that container you moved, there's something rich in there. We've got to get inside. Then it's time to show you how a master does it. No lot survives around with savvy. Get me up close. You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. Step aside, rank and file. Savvy's at the top of the VIP list here. That's right. Out of the way. Whoa. Watch it. How'd he get in front? Little slime ball. Thank you, thank you. Now, are you ready? It's time to make our entrance. At first, your knock rings hollow on the door. And then, just like that, you hear a click, then a rattle. Some mechanism unlocks itself inside the door.
Ahoy! Come on in!
You can't be serious.
The man stands at the far end of the shipping container. It's hard to say anything more about him. You cannot make out any of his details, but you do feel the overwhelming presence of capital. The feeling causes all the hairs on your body to stand at attention, like soldiers preparing for review. Something's amiss. The light beams bend around his face and scatter in 1,000 directions. It seems the laws of physics do not apply here. They are suspended, distorted, and echo. Trying to visualize the physics at play is liable to give you an aneurysm. Don't think about it too hard. In the general stillness, only your tongue moves, flickering as you utter.
Welcome, Savvy. Welcome. Not too much, actually. Just pleasantly surprised to have company today.
You can't hear him exactly, yet you're able to understand every word he says. It is very strange. An overwhelming hum covers everything. Voice doesn't escape from him.
Now, what can I do for you, gentlemen? Who am I? Oh, I haven't been asked that question for such a long time. I don't meet a lot of people outside my circle these days. Anyhow, my name is Rustam Diodore, investor, license holder, an extremely high net worth individual. And your name is Sabi, right?
We've hit the big time. This is the man who's going to make you rich. Always rely on your friendly neighborhood swindler.
Mr. Diodore, I think there's been some confusion. His name is, in fact, not Savvy. Let's start over. I am Lieutenant Kim Kisoragi of the RCM, and this is my partner...
Pleasure to meet you, Harrier Dubois. I must admit, the name suits you very well.
Oh Lord, not this again. Oh, nothing. It's just that we've got this murder to solve, and yet you go around asking everyone about money. And every time I ask, are you sure this is related to the case, you say, sure, Kim, I think it is. And yet, it never seems to get us any closer to solving the case.
It's quite alright. I'm used to the question by now. To be blunt, I inherited my fortune from my grandmother, who herself was an extremely high net worth individual back in Grad. All I did was take her fortune and invest it prudently. Believe it or not, it takes more than a bit of skill not to blow a vast fortune on sailing boats, bad choices, and unsupervised state policy. I gotta tell you, at first, being rich is a lot of work. You've got to work hard because everything's so darn expensive. You know, prices increase exponentially at this income level. But then, once you've reached my position, it's nearly impossible for me not to make money. My assets are so diversified that I'm bound to come out ahead no matter what. Some of my lower net worth friends say to me, but doesn't that take all the fun out of it? And I tell them, not really. Precisely, Mr. Dubois. You know, I hear people talk sometimes about economic equality and fairness, but tell me, where would we be without liberalism? In caves, whacking each other with bombs. A nightmare scenario, a world of slavery and violence. Which brings us back to the essential truth of modernism. Where we are right now, the freedom of mankind can only be derived from the free flow of capital. It is truly, it's almost entirely carefree. It really leaves you time to better yourself spiritually.
Hey, all this talk about money has made you lose the thread. What is going on with the light in this place? That's what you need to ask him about.
What do you mean? Are you talking about my chin? Oh, that's what you mean. Yes, I've heard of this effect, though I've never witnessed it myself, of course. It has something to do with our Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient.
The Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient is a ratio designed to reflect the difference in net worth between individuals. When the coefficient is close to 1, or 100%, it means one person possesses all the net worth. Among that group of individuals, it's been observed that when the Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient reaches about 0.96 or so, the laws of physics begin to bend around the high net worth individual. The Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient for you and this individual appears to be 0.9998, repeating. That's not good for you.
Among other things. But calm down. I'm but a lowly single-digit billionaire. No, not really. There are actually quite many digits.
I see nothing of the sort. To be frank, all I see is a gentleman who's unusually well dressed for Martinez, in a cargo container, which I admit is odd.
Yes, I imagine that does look strange to you. My container. Traveling. This is a great way to get around. It's fun, it's safe, and it gives me lots of time to think. By the way, let me now ask you a question. Where are we exactly?
In the very, very early days of colonizing this archipelago, the kingdom of Surens, a precursor of a modern Sur-le-Clay, used to own the city of Revachol, an obscure detail in the bigger picture, but still worth dropping.
Was it Krasmazov that said, religion is Parolidon for the masses? He may have been a commoner, but we're in agreement about that. Still, I imagine the architecture is quite lovely. It's a shame I can't get out and explore myself. One of the downsides of being an extremely high net worth individual is that mobs of low net worth individuals are constantly banding together to ask for money. There simply aren't enough hours a day to hand out all the handouts. It's like feeding seagulls. There are always more, and they never seem to do anything interesting with it, except more seagulls. Spending money is a matter of desire. I'm sure you agree. I don't have the desire for spending it like that. Smart, you know? It also provides a means to hide from all the targeted advertising we extremely high net worth individuals are constantly subjected to. Luxury yachts, high fidelity portable radio systems, fail-proof outerwear, and so on. It just gets a bit middle class after a while. A bit bourgeois. What? No, I did not say that at all. Being rich is great. Just don't tell anyone I told you that. There it is. I knew it as soon as you did the Milton 32 age note. A fellow entrepreneur. The art market, you say? Sure, hit me with it, as they say. I'm keen to hear what you have in mind. A painter? I'm always looking to expand into new asset classes. Who's the artist? Not even a pseudonym? Original. I don't think any of my friends have any pieces from anonymous artists. Or maybe only Luca, the son-in-law of the Comte de Lille.
The Aloise Leblanche family is known to have one of the biggest and most impressive private art collections in the world.
No, not even him. He might have some wells and Duvigny's, the authenticity of which historians are debating, but I don't think that counts. Perfect. And the name of the piece?
There's no sign of a reaction for a good 3 seconds. Then...
Keith? Just Keith.
What were you thinking? Keith? You're not starting a boy band here. You're naming a future masterpiece.
Keith.
Even the lieutenant looks tense, waiting to see where this is going.
Keith. I like it. One of my nephews is named Keith. We haven't spoken in years, since I declined to pay for his most recent trip to rehab. But perhaps this will help patch things up between us. Before I invest, I need to know more about the work. How do I know this asset is going to appreciate with time?
This is the only question that matters. Fail to come up with an interesting hook, and he's out.
I see. I'll be honest. All I see are splutters that lack any true intention.
Why are you letting this opportunity slip away? Give him a story, an experience. Make him want to run away with this painting and marry it in secret.
Please, if there's something I'm missing, I'd love to know what it is. Emerging? That's a word with plenty of appeal. What is it that defines this style exactly?
Just tell him the truth. Why does no one ever want to tell the truth? Now is the time to champion the power of the sinuses.
Seems unhygienic. Is that what's in these days?
His scintillating face shape flashes with an expression that resembles disgust.
But perhaps I judged too quickly. Is there an intelligent reasoning behind the method? So it's an extra-somatic painting, an effort carried out by physical instinct, not the mind. Perhaps I have been neglecting the triumphs of anatomical perspicacity lately.
He ate that right up. Pretty sure you've done it.
Well, I think that settles it. You found a buyer, my friend. A pleasure transacting with you. However, there are a few complications. I don't have the cash on me right now to pay for art of this caliber. What I can instead offer are shares in Mauer Koshlai Mercury Group.
Shares. That's even better. You can do a lot with them if you play your cards right.
I bought these shares many years ago for a steal. As predicted, Mauer Koshlai Mercury's operating profit has increased year on year, and there is no signs of it slowing down. People always need mercury, which means you could net yourself a considerable profit if you need some immediate liquidity. But if you don't mind waiting, I expect the value of these shares to double within the next 5 years.
Seems like a clever investment. Definitely worth thinking about if you care about your future.
They're the very unit of capital. You can buy them, sell them, even sit on them if you think it wise. Trust me when I say it's a Gotwaldian Ilmaran company that specializes in extracting mercury. It's seen massive growth lately due to the discovery of Riotvark mercury. Have you heard about it? At the moment, it's trading at more than 1.5 times the price of gold. That's because it's an essential component in the next generation of radio computers. Brave's using it in their next model. I can't wait for mine to turn up. My predictions say its improved speed and azimuthal range should increase my trade efficiency by whopping 46%. You really should order one if you don't want to be left behind.
A step forward for technology, yes, but only for those who can afford it.
Splendid!
It looks almost ethereal. Is it even real?
This is a stock certificate. Well, a photocopy of one. Nevertheless, it's solid proof that you own shares in Mauer Koshlai Mercury Group.
The light around the individual in front of you changes somehow as you take the scroll. You can't figure out what's different. You just know that it is. This transaction has changed the physical relationship between you. You are now more alike somehow. The Weiss Wiesmann coefficient for you and this individual has now dropped to 0.9989, repeating.
That concludes our part of the transaction. Once you've turned over the asset, my people will get the legal ball rolling. Another deal complete. Welcome to the big leagues! If you haven't already, I'd advise you to consider hiring a personal brand strategist. What don't they do? They practically do everything, from spotting good investments and analyzing design trends to booking a lunchtime table at the prestigious Landrosier. Unfortunately not. I only know the ones who work with multi-millionaires and beyond. But take a look around, and I'm sure you'll find one. Personal brand strategists are attracted to money like sharks to blood. You'll find having network opens many new doors for you.
Here's an avant-garde proposal. What about idiot Doom Spiral? He used to hustle and hang out with the sales hawks and trend pushers of the marketing world. Let's ask him if he knows any personal brand strategists. Oh, and we should see what this net worth can do. Might score a discount, or better yet, get you some free goods. That's the kind of thing that really makes you feel like a hotshot. Ask the local merchants about it if you get the chance.
So, what's next on the agenda?
Could you please stop asking people for money? It does not reflect well on the RCM, and to be perfectly frank, we can't afford to look worse than we already do.
It's perfectly alright. Based on your appearance, I can tell I'm dealing with a civilized man. As you may know, us high-net-worth individuals don't have a lot of cash on hand. Investments and liquidity are enemies of one another. I think I only have coins for coffee machines. Here is 3 real. How much can you get for this? You're welcome. You know, maybe you can make that money grow. Come up with an investment plan. How's that sound?
If business planning were really your strong suit, you probably wouldn't be a cop.
Go on. I'm ready. Hold on. Have we met before? Yeah, on second thought, it couldn't have been you. Your idea reminds me of a group of young men who came to me a long time ago, calling themselves Fortress Accident. The name should have been a red flag. They pitched me and a handful of other investors on an idea for a role-playing game that would, in their words, change the world. Well, at first everything was rosy. The ideas were solid, but they were lacking in... How do I put it? They lacked the will to get things done. As their financial situation became more desperate, their ideas devolved from realistic to absolute insanity. We lost all of our money. High art types never deliver. They're only good for peddling Welkins or whatever creeps they come up with.
I guess the inordinate amount of time they put into drawing mythical creatures did not generate a return on investment.
Nobody knows for sure, but the place can't be pretty. Sadly, when we got there, it was too late. The concept had run out of steam. Only dust remained. What I want to tell you is this. It's a very bad idea. Dead in the water. You seem like a reasonable man, but that is not a reasonable plan. Absolutely not. It was a real pleasure. Sadly though, my current lifestyle prevents me from remaining more than a brief time in any one place. Perhaps we'll meet again, somewhere far away. Farewell, friend, and may your peace of mind guide you to happiness.
The pearlescent paper adamantly resists being held open. It demands struggle at both ends. The print inside is just as taxing. Due to its fine and curlicue font, the most attractive part is the image emblazoned across the top. Feisty little thing. But don't worry, it's under control. Inside an oval frame is a grey sketch of a curly-haired girl enthusiastically riding an industrial drill. It's churning up hard chunks of rocky ground and scattering them into the air. In the hole created beneath is a silvery river of liquid metal. Her form is terrible. She needs to straighten her back and increase the downward pressure on that machine. Has no one taught her about ergonomics? Each letter is shaped like a laugh line, being pulled in a million different directions. They're all grinning at you, pleased with practically being indecipherable. A bold black mesh curves around the oval image at the top of the document. It almost looks as if it were penned with intention. Perhaps it was. You're starting to think it might actually say something. If it does, it remains hidden from you. All you see is a baffling enigma, a coiled nest of viper letters, if they even are letters. There must be some form of logic hidden away in there. Your vision blurs into a haze of dark scribbles. It's like looking at a wrought iron fence through a greasy lens. Not a single recognizable symbol appears to you. The certificate threatens to coil back into itself as you relax a little.
Mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larice said when she opened a bathhouse. Sure, mister. Absolutely. I'm always willing to help out nice fellows such as yourself. Mr. Everett doesn't really want me to talk to people about union guys. But who did you want to talk about? Mr. Edgar is Mr. Everett's brother. He looks a bit younger, he does, but a very smart fellow. Very smart fellow indeed. He's away on some union business. Not even in Revershaw, they say. All kinds of places he visits. Him and his brother both do when they're on a vacation. Right now, it's Mr. Everett's turn to look after the union. But last year he spent a whole winter in South Africa. Left with the first autumn rains and didn't come back before the trees were green again.
South Safra? A lot of bulk chemical manufacturing going on there. A lot of cargo shipments being made, too. The trade must have been lucrative for the trip to be so long.
He's a union man through and through. Good guy. He's very calm, laid back, doesn't do much, talks to Everett sometimes. Honestly, I don't know what he does for us, but it must be important because everybody likes him. Yes, they do. I think that's what he does. He makes everyone feel a little better. Whoa, he's really something. He doesn't talk much to me usually, but when he does, I don't really understand most of what he's saying. Actually, I don't think he would like me running my mouth about him like that. Once he said he's a dragon to this mob fellow who came picking a fight with some union men. I think he really believes Jean-Luc was a dragon because he ran right off. Another time he almost killed another guy, but I shouldn't talk about that.
That's precisely what he is. Everard's dragon.
Who do you mean, mister?
You do realize he might just be a figment of your imagination, right?
I don't know anyone like this, mister. Maybe he's one of Mr. Everett's fancy friends. He knows all kinds of fancy people with suits and purdy carriages.
He really feels very uncomfortable discussing matters related to Everett with you.
Oh, Titus is a longshoreman through and through. He was born on a boat, they say. His veins are probably filled with salt water, I tell you. Nice, friendly sort, old Titus is. I'd best not. I mean, I could, but I don't think Mr. Everett would like it very much. You better ask him yourself, mister. The night guard? Ooh, he's a peculiar fellow. He's the strong, silent type, you could say. We talk all the time, but I don't really know much about him. He plays petanque with my old human studies teacher, Mr. Martin, down at the plaza. I think he's the only fellow who actually knows old Renee. They lived on the same street their entire lives. Even dated the same girl on and off for as long as I can remember. Strange fellows. Mr. Martin was always real nice to me in school. I remember once. Mr. Martin, yes. Don't really remember much about him. I was just a boy back then. Sure, mister. What?
Mr. Dubois, every worker, member of the board. How can I help you today? Ah, yes, your side investigation. Thank you. You've got some spirit clearing up phony drug accusations alongside this murder. I'll talk to the mayor and see if I can get you the key to the city, Harry. Now let's talk real business.
Actually, Revachol doesn't have a mayor. He refuses to discuss it further. It's probably just a small nuisance to him. Not even a speck of anger in his voice. That's that then.
Mega-rich light-bending guy? Oh my god. How did that get in there? Damn it to hell, Harry. I specifically told my guys to check all the containers for mega-rich light-bending guys.
There was a guy in the container, but he didn't bend any light. That was in the detective's head.
Honestly, guys, we might be moving a spot of drugs through this harbor, but I won't be caught transporting the light-bending mega-rich. I have a reputation to protect. No, they're not. They're vermin, and one just found a way inside my container. Soon, he'll bring the others. All three of them. Thank you for telling me. I'll see to this immediately. I shudder to think what you're going to tell me next, Harry.
Not for 1 second did he believe there's an actual mega-rich person somewhere in his container town.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
Trying to sneak up on me again! Trying to snuff.
The door is closed again. Nothing to do here anymore. You hear someone inside, walking from room to room. Whoever lives here must be back home. The door is closed. You hear some... The aging alcoholic is still there, breathing. The air in the room is stale.
Well, judging by the color of his hair, I would say yes, it is.
The lieutenant's right. The man's unwashed hair bears a familiar ginger tone. Even the hair on his chest is coppery. The light from the window falls into his half-open eyes. There's still plenty to be scared of here, just not what you thought.
No, it really doesn't. This looks very hard to recover from. This man won't be feeding his family anytime soon. Not that he was, but at least he won't be beating his son.
A pair of half-open bug eyes is staring back at you from the dark, empty, and frozen. It's clear that the person behind them is not awake.
Can't you tell? It happens to exceptionally committed substance abusers. They fall asleep with their eyelids still open. Not a pretty sight. Look, he's trying to communicate. I'm afraid it is. Look, it moves.
And look, the other foot is camouflaged by a striped sock bearing the name Maxtor is a gas company. A groan rises from the man's throat, dry like a death rattle. He's trying to say something in his sleep.
What is there to do? We could turn him on his side so he doesn't choke on his own vomit, but he's already on his side. We could take him to Remedy or Saint-Baptiste, but he doesn't have money for medical services. The almshouse would turn him down. They don't do charity for people who are trying to kill themselves. Besides, he'll be dead in a few.
Years, months, weeks. The pile of blankets grunts miserably.
like playing in the dark. Sharpens your nocturnal instincts. Feels like being on recon again. Yes, the Debardeurs Union pays me to stand vigil during the nights. Not out of any political allegiance, mind you. I'm an old man. Don't sleep more than a few hours every night anyway, and money is tight.
He feels like he has to justify himself for some reason.
She is nobody. This is none of your concern, and I refuse to discuss my private affairs with the RCM.
The lady is Jeanne-Marie Beaulieu, and she sure as hell wasn't a nobody.
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I wasn't working that night. Been on a 2-week leave since last Monday. It's a private matter. Nothing to do with your investigation.
You see, officer, René is the kind of man would rather die than admit he needs medical assistance or, God forbid, sick it. A real man's man is just gonna ride it out.
I'm fine, goddammit. Mind your own business. It's nothing. Just got to cut back on coffee.
It's his heart.
No one. The boss has been unmanned since last Monday. There's no other guard. It's just me.
No one has been guarding the container yard since last Monday.
Yes. It's not actually an issue. I mean...
Look, officer. The container yard doesn't actually need a guardsman. Never had one before René. Monsieur Claire had that booth built specially for him. It's mostly decorative.
The possibility of someone being in there is enough to discourage any ill-minded individuals.
Evrard created this job for René because he knows the Royal Carabiniers' pension of honor and PTSD isn't something a man can live off. A decorated Kingsman collecting tear reflects bad on the whole neighborhood. His words. Oh, I didn't mean to imply there's something wrong with that. I do it too. Everyone does it. It's an excellent side thing.
Yes, yes, yes. Can we conclude the topic of my guard boost now?
He is not going to become an entrepreneur.
Yes, yes. Like I said, it would be up anyway, so might as well keep an eye out. It keeps my senses sharp.
Still, all you see is an old soldier refusing to replace his uniform with a civilian attire.
Anything else I can assist you with, officer?
Everything's still cool here, officer. I only accept legal tender, officer. Unless that's code for something.
It is not code. He really means his individual net worth. It is not legal tender.
In that case, I cannot accept that as payment, officer. I run everything above board here. Cash only.